Okay, thank you everyone. So what we are thinking that we'll start with the operational guidelines. We'll start them a rundown with all the agencies and the partners who are present with us. And this operational guidelines were published a week back, and it was circulated to all the implementing partners, development partners, and the state assemblies. Uh, we'll have a small presentation about it, and then we are going to break for lunch. Oh, so I was thinking that we can have a rundown with the all operational guidelines that we have published, and then we can break for lunch. This is a 100 microsite project that we thought of developing after we had a successful microsites in Mumbai and Gujarat and Ahmedabad, supported by Path and Chai, respectively. And then our mission steering group in 12th April meeting proposed or approved our proposal that we are going to have 100 microsites all over India. Uh, it's an ambitious thing that then now we are starting with at least 5 states. We'll start with them. And in a microsite, what we are having next week. So microsite generally is to counter the ABDM adoption that we saw in the ABDM. We saw that we have achieved good numbers in ABDM adoption. We have 40 crores Abbas, more than 28 crores records have been made to Abbas, around 2 lakh HPR and HFR we have populated across India. But we see that this is a very small universe that we have covered, and there is a large universe that is still to be covered. So in the challenge of adoption, we thought that this is one of the way in which we can handle the in which we can increase the adoption of ABDM. As I have already mentioned, that mission steering group approved it for 30 crores, and roughly we are having around 30 lakhs for every microsite. The operational guidelines divides how this money is going to be given to the implementing partners and the state mission directors. Intention of the objective or intention of the project is to targeted adoption efforts in private sector. We see that private sector is yet to gain pace in the adoption of ABDM. We need to showcase end-to-end ABDM adoption, right from a patient goes to a doctor, sees a doctor, have consultation with them, goes to a laboratory, goes to a prescription of pharmacy. So that kind of end-to-end adoption we wanted to see or showcase to people so that we can have positive impact on the demand for the ABDM from the people. Then we will also have it from so that we can have more on-ground responses and feedback from the ground. Next, please. Microsite is a focused region comprising of all small, medium-sized healthcare facilities, mostly the clinics, the hospitals, labs, pharmacies within that area, which will be onboarded to ABD. So this is a loose definition that we are having, but we are trying to focus on an area within a district, within a city, where we have good population of the private people practicing medicine or Indian School of Medicine or anything like that. So these kind of areas would be focused in a microsite. So we have in the operational guidelines, we have divided microsite into two categories. First category is category A and second is B. In the category A, the division is on the number of healthcare facilities which are present in that area. A has at least 1,000 facilities and B has at least 500 to 1,000 facilities. So this division has been made to incorporate or involve the northeastern states, the Himalayan states or remote areas, or any other reason which the state mission director feels appropriate to start a category B in microsite. So state mission director's office is completely open to categorize a microsite, whether it is A or B. Then microsite would obviously be implemented by the guidance of state mission directors. Those are the offices who are going to implement it and guide it, and actual implementation, monitoring, evaluation would also be done by the state mission director's office. One state and UT can implement multiple microsite, obviously, and operational guidelines for activating microsite are also been released. I have already told about. Next, please. So these are the several stakeholders that we have in microsite. We think that more or less 4 stakeholders are involved: National Health Authority, State Mission Director's Office, development partners, and implementing agency. We have divided or tried to bucket some of the roles that they are going to play in the microsite project. Okay. I think I was on the last slide. Yeah. This slide. Thank you. So NHA is going to provide overall guidance and support. Guidelines will publish guidelines. One part of the guidelines we have already published. Then obviously we are going to help in the ICM support or capacity building support or any kind of technical support which is required for the microsite. But the state mission director's office is going to actually select the implementing partner or the development partner, whether it is required or not. We'll select the site, we'll select the microsite location, and then we'll implement and regularly review and monitor it, and then also disperse the funds to the implementing partners. Development partner would provide a supporting role related to capacity building or IEC or PMU kind of support if the state should require so. Implementing partners are going to put people on ground and who are going to approach the doctors, make them change their behavior from analogous to digital, and then adopt the enabled solutions or create digital health records. So that is the work of implementing agents that the implementing agency is going to do. Next, please. Uh, Suggestive criteria, obviously the state mission director's office is going to decide which microsite is to be selected or what is the area that is going to select. But suggestive criteria could be anything. Microsite would be obviously internet connectivity or availability of the healthcare professionals, whether the universe of the healthcare professionals in that site is present of 500, at least 1,000 people are practicing medicine or not. Then literacy rates obviously could be a criteria. Interfacing agencies presence, their capacity or their bandwidth availability of the workforce would also be one of the criteria. Whether we have support from the local IMA chapters or the local bodies, etc. Accessibility could also be one of the criteria. Development partners indicative list we have already circulated in our operational guidelines. These are the development partners who are interested to do a microsite with any of the states. And state UTs may onboard any development partner through internal selection process also, if they don't want to go with the indicated list. So interface agency or the implementing agencies, the selection criteria could be, we thought that the PPSA model or the payer provider service agreement, which is being run in 14 states or 10 states for NHA, we thought that any implementing partners who's having association with the states for implementing any government program, they can be directly enrolled or directly be taken use by the state mission directors that we have already clearly written in our operational guidelines so that the state mission directors don't have to go into the process of RFP and RFP. They can start the mission with this, and then obviously they have that liberty to do or choose any interface agency that they want through RFP, RFP, or any other kind of internal process that they want to select. That is obviously available to them, but we have given a clear black and white writing that if that can be used by the state mission directors for the financial and other purposes. Next, please. These are some of the project financials that we want to show. The approval was overall of 30 crores. We thought that 100 microsite we are going to do. So we were having a figure of 30 lakhs with us for every microsite. And accordingly, we have tried to divide it into category A and category B. Category A obviously is a bigger microsite, so implementing partners would be potentially be having 28 lakh rupees to be received. In category B, the amount reduced to half, that is 14 lakh that we can have for a smaller microsite. IC and CB activities will be provided to the state mission directors to do microsite related IC or capacity building. So that is 2 lakhs irrespective of the category of the microsite that will be available to the state mission director to be used for the IC and capacity building for the microsite related money or expenditure that they do. Next week. The dispersal of the funds would be like this. Microsite implementation interface agency would be getting 7 lakh rupees category A. No, this is not like we are going to pay money to the state mission directors in equal installments of 7 lakhs. And state mission directors are going to pay money to the implementing partners depending upon the achievement of their milestones. So the NHA is going to disburse funds to the states in equal installments of 7 lakh or 3.5 lakhs and 50,000 for the capacity building and IC funds. But the state mission directors are going to provide money to the implementing partners depending upon the milestones which the implementing partners have achieved or has achieved. That milestones are going to come in the next slides. Next, please. So these are the different phases of the microsites. Phase 1 and 2, the microsite, in the phase 1, what implementing partner has to do, they have to select a microsite, they'll have to submit a detailed implementation plan that this is the site, these are the development partners, this is the interfacing agency, or that kind of plan that they submit to state mission director that I'm going to do this microsite. They don't have to actually put the people on ground in this. And in phase 2, they do IEC and capacity build of their workforce so that they set up the teams, they train, capacity build them, they map the microsite, how many people are present, how many private practitioners are present in the microsite, how much activities, IEC activities they're going to do, initiate outreach activities, and intimate NHA of the phase completion. Once the phase complete, once these phases are completed, then NHA is going to provide the money to the state mission director. State mission director can provide that mobilization advance to the implementing partners without they doing the actual work, they'll get a mobilization advance, because this was one of the feedback that we received, that they will require mobilization advance before they put the people on the next, please. These are the phase 3 to 6 where actual milestones needs to be achieved by the implementing partners. As you'll see that they are divided into category A and category B. These orange ones are for category A. In phase 3, they need to achieve at least 100 HPR, 50 HFRs, and number of facilities who are using AWDM enabled solutions should be at least 10. However, number of health records that are linked, we have not mentioned in this milestone. So only these 3 criteria that they need to achieve for achieving phase 3. That 100 HPR, 50 HFR, and 10 facilities using some AWDM enabled solution in that microsite. So according changes have been done in the HPR and HFR for the forms that we have to fill on the website. So in that, the person has to select that he is in that microsite. Accordingly, it will be captured whether it is the HPR has been registered in that microsite. So it will be publicly available to everybody. Phase 4 may obviously the numbers increase of number of HPR and HFR, but interestingly, we have removed the number of facilities using the AWDM enabled solution. Now we are saying that at least 5,000 digital health records should be linked by that microsite. So it can only be done if the number of facilities are using them and continuously using them. Phase 5 numbers are increasing from 500 HPR, 400 HFR, and 220,000 AWDM enabled or digital health solution, digital health linked records. Similarly, the numbers is increasing in phase 6 also. So here we'll see that number of HFR, HPR has to increase. The number of digital health records being linked to ABHA is also increasing over the period of time. Interesting point here to notice, the timeline is not fixed in this. These are only the phases which are unrelated to the timeline, whether second month is elapsed or fourth month is elapsed. It is not about that. The timeline of a microsite, we have thought that it would take at least 6 to 9 months to change behavior of people and use AWDM enabled solution and create digital records. So time is dependent on, and it is flexible on the implementing partner and the state mission directors of it. We are only saying that the numbers should be achieved by whatever time that they think that the project is viable, because they are going to get money only if they achieve these goals. So next week, the numbers are going to be divided by half in the category B microsite. So it's a division by half because category B is a smaller microsite. Next week. The payment, this is payment from the state mission director to the interfacing agencies. So we let us look at the orange column. The 7 lakh rupees is the phase 1 completion. So when the implementing partner is only providing a detailed plan for implementing a microsite, that time only the mobilization advance is getting disbursed from the state mission director's office to the implementing partner. And while phase 2 has no monetary benefit because it only has IEC, capacity building, and formation of teams, phase 3 to phase 6, the amount that is to be disbursed by the state mission director to the implementing partner has been delineated as 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs, 6 lakhs, 8 lakhs. So total 28 lakhs will be provided to the implementing partner once they achieve all the 6 phases of the or milestones of the microsite. Similarly, the amount is reduced by half for category B microsite because that's a smaller numbers. Next, please. Some salient features of the operational guidelines. I think we have discussed many of them. Primary responsibility to run a microsite will be with the state mission director, and similar, they have also been provided complete discretion of choosing a site, choosing a partner, choosing a development partner, or categorization of the microsite, etc. Flexibility is also provided to the state to select a microsite or to select development partner or the interface agency by what process they are going to select. We have given some indicative that PPSA model can be used by the state if they are already having any implementing partner which is associated with the state for develop any kind of government program. All payment from NHA will be made directly to the state assembly's office, and state mission director office is going to provide money to the implementing partner as per the phase-wise development or phase-wise completion by implementing. NHA would not be providing any kind of financial support to the development partners and supporting the state and due to the implementation of Microsoft. I think state mission directors are also not going to provide any kind of financial support to the development partners. State and UTs may obtain a bank guarantee of 3% of microsite cost. That is around 84,000 from category A, implementing partner implementing a category A microsite, and 42,000 from an implementing partner which implementing microsite of category B. So this 3% we have taken from some of the programs that are centrally run, which is very minimal. We are not asking for a bank guarantee which is prohibitively big, and therefore 84,000 against the mobilization advance of 7 lakh is kind of okay. Next, please. So these were the some of the features of operational guidelines. I hope everybody might have gone through them earlier also, and we can discuss if any point that you think that would be important, or any feedback or suggestion from any of you people would be very welcome.
Agency to can you take any stage already working in grounds for that, or we have to start assess with
So interface agency can be taken by the state mission director. Any interfacing agency can be taken who is associated with the state to implement any government program of the state. So that has been written in the operational guidelines. Hardik, can we just show the line in the operational guidelines? If you have PDF of it, you can show that. No, in the PDF of the operational guidelines. Any other suggestion or feedback from any of the implementing partners, development partners, or state mission directors?
Along with the implementation partners of the state, not only implementing that the associated partnership also do a lot of the schemes where they are not directly working with the government, but they might be associated with some things. So I think if it's not there in where it can be already associated with us.
Okay.
It is.
Yeah, I think we have covered that. We have intentionally not written implementing any government health scheme. We have intentionally written any government program. It might not be related to health. Yes, associated also. Currently, it is implementing, I think. Let us see the PDF also. In that PDF, तो इसमें डॉक्टर मोहित हमने क्या किया है कि हमने जानबूझकर इसमें टाइमलाइन नहीं लिखी है। हम सिर्फ बोल रहे हैं कि आप इतने रिकॉर्ड उस माइक्रोसाइट से लिंक होना चाहिए। अब वो आपका इम्प्लीमेंटिंग पार्टनर 6 महीने में करे, 7 महीने में करे, 8 महीने में करे, 10 महीने में करे, एटलीस्ट बिल्कुल इतना होना चाहिए। हम ये नहीं बोल रहे हैं कि आपको 6 महीने के अंदर ही ये करना, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द काइंड ऑफ बिहेवियर, काइंड ऑफ रेपो दैट दे हैव विद द प्राइवेट प्रैक्टिशनर, कोई कर रहे हैं नहीं कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि उनको पैसा तभी मिलेगा जब वो ये कर देंगे। तो अगर वो नहीं करेंगे जल्दी तो उनका फील्ड फोर्स को सैलरी तो उनको देना है, तो इसलिए उनको तो वो लोग करेंगे अपने आप जल्दी। हमें सिर्फ ये देखना है विच इज ऑब्जेक्टिव एंड मेजरेबल, वही क्राइटेरिया हमने इसमें रखा। वी हैव नॉट इंटेंशनली केप्ट इट फ्रॉम whether it has to be achieved within this date or within this time. ये वो लाइन है, in case of onboarding an external development partner का है, implementing partner वाला बताइए। Leveraging the on-ground partners with the state agencies who may already be supporting the state with implementation of any government program, such as patient provider PPSA part. थोड़ा सा scroll कर देना, scroll down. Under mixture, a suggestive list we have included. However, it is open to assembly revision discussion to onboard any other agency which is not listed in the schedule, but with which the state duty may have already have a private contract agreement with the implementation of any program. So we heard this feedback from state of Goa. They said that not we are associated with Maharashtra. People implementing partner was also interacting with Goa, but they said that we are also interacting with the state of Maharashtra, but not in a health club. So whether we can take up some microsite in Maharashtra. So we said that we are going to amend the operational guidelines that you can also be associated with us if the Maharashtra assembly decides that you can also do it. So that discussion we have left to state.
Similar would be very similar to the number of health facilities. Number of health facilities might not be available. Professionals you can get from other doctors. That would be easier, but health facilities, because the clinical establishment that wants to be a similar number of
Facilities are less.
not that high. As it has been estimated as of sounds, people don't have
So इसके लिए we received many feedback, जैसे अभी भी आ ही रहा है, अब आप भी बोल ही रहे थे, तो HFR का सब लोगों को लग रहा है कि ये शायद हायर साइड, लेकिन ये बहुत ही हमने सोचा था पहले भी कि हम लोग इंडिविजुअल डॉक्टर्स जो वहाँ पर क्लिनिक की प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं, दे मेक देयर ओन क्लिनिक एज अ HFR, तब हो पाएगा। मतलब प्राइवेट प्रैक्टिशनर्स इंडिपेंडेंटली प्रैक्टिसिंग, उनको हम केटर करना चाहते थे, उनकी तरफ हम जाना चाहते थे कि they have their own low cost ABDM enabled solutions that they have and they start using them. उनकी प्रैक्टिसेस को हम लोग केटर करना चाहते थे, इसलिए इसमें HFR रखा है। बट लेकिन अभी हमें रेगुलरली फीडबैक आ रहा है कि बिकॉज HFR से जनरली हम लोग सोचते हैं कि हॉस्पिटल्स और लेबोरेटरीज और नर्सिंग होम्स, हम लोग उनको नहीं, हम लोग प्राइवेट प्रैक्टिशनर्स को इंडिपेंडेंट क्लिनिक्स हैं उनको इसके साथ केटर करना चाहते थे। इसके लिए हैव ड्रॉन अ लाइन कि हम लोग इसमें उस HFR के लिए नहीं, हम इंडिविजुअल प्राइवेट, लेकिन वी हैव नोटेड द फीडबैक एंड ट्राई टू गेट सम वे अराउंड इट आल्सो।
within 500 या जो काम सर लेकर के हम लोग एक like a pilot project चला सकें, because if we don't have from 500 to 1,000 in a small area, suppose I am taking Patna Commissionerate for example, so it might not go to 500 to 1,000. If we include private clinics, then we might have more number, but अगर वैसा भी हो तो category C भी अगर हो तो better रहेगा, because उसमें payments आपको लेने थोड़ा downgrade करके payment देना पड़ेगा, जैसे category A और B में किया गया।
ये भी मुझे फीडबैक आया हुआ है कि कैन वी एक्सप्लोर अनदर कैटेगरी व्हिच इज स्टिल लोअर, सो वी विल एक्सप्लोर दैट।
We need a formal agreement with the interfacing agency.
So it's upon the state mission director's office to engage into with them formally. It can be a piece of paper where simple based on these guidelines and it can be done. We can also circulate a draft if some of the state mission directors Once forms it, we can make a template and then we can circulate on it.
Draft is that we'll also make it.
So we can make a note of it. We can make a small MOU kind of thing.
couple of things. First of all, जो implementing agency है, if we can just share some kind of a template. That I think will help because otherwise across the states, implementing agencies might miss out on some information which is needed to be provided. So I think if we can just share a draft template which should be filled as a proposal and sent to me. One. Secondly, when you are considering another category, C, D, E, whatever, my expectation will be that let us also look at terrain, population density, those kind of issues, and have a category where we are not unnecessarily diluting the amount to an extent that it becomes financially unfeasible. For this agency, for example, all the EAV sales, by and large, terrain is difficult, population density is low. So even if a person achieves say half of category B, the amount of effort would be the same as category B. The numbers might be low, but the effort would be the same. So maybe we do not dilute the amount. We just simply say, okay, for the target is 5 hours.
Anything, any more suggestion or feedback? Otherwise, we can break for lunch also. I am hoping that additional CEO sir and mission director sir is going to join us in the lunch, and then we can have a statewide discussion after the lunch also. Yeah, please. So ये लिंक्ड रिकॉर्ड्स हैं जो आप कह रहे हैं कि 1 लाख लिंक्ड रिकॉर्ड्स आपको बनाना है, तो ये जितने बार एनकाउंटर्स होता है उतनी बार नया रिकॉर्ड इसमें बनता है।
सेम पेशेंट का मल्टीपल रिकॉर्ड्स बनता रहेगा तो वो काउंट होगा।
यस।
और सेकंड सर जैसे ये क्यूमुलेटिव है नंबर्स, ये जो
क्यूमुलेटिव
फेज वाइज बढ़ते जाएंगे
क्यूमुलेटिव
इसमें हेल्थ फैसिलिटीज केमिस्ट जो एचएफआर में आएंगे वो लैब केमिस्ट ये सारे नंबर्स इंक्लूड हो गए हैं।
यस यस। इंडिविजुअल क्लिनिक्स, लेबोरेटरीज, हॉस्पिटल्स, नर्सिंग होम्स, किसी को भी आप ले सकते हैं ऑब्वियसली, लेकिन बिग हॉस्पिटल को लेंगे तो ये
फार्मेसीज को भी
फार्मेसीज भी है। हाँ यस यस। उसका मुझे पूछना पड़ेगा कि so SMD UP Manan is asking that initially we also thought that we are going to provide free of cost ABDM enabled HMIS solution to the individual clinics. So that has been taken from the COVID module, vaccinator module. We have repurposed it and renamed it as Doc Mitra. So I just need to check whether it has gone into production or not, whether we will be able to offer it to all the implementing partners in their bouquet of ABDM enabled solutions that they are going to offer to private people. So I'll will get back to you on that, whether it has been gone into live and so that it can be offered there also.
एनरोल कर रहे हैं क्या कुछ वहां पे हम इंसेंटिव का प्रोविजन कर सकते हैं अगर कोई रिगार्डिंग करे तो?
इंसेंटिव स्कीम तो अभी चल ही रहा है।
नहीं सर, ये चाइनीज का नाम से अभी जो सबसे बड़ा हार्डवेयर।
यस एब्सोल्युटली। सो या तो DHIS से उस कॉस्ट को ऑफसेट करें या फिर वो इसके बेनिफिट देखना शुरू करें कि द काइंड ऑफ हार्डवेयर कॉस्ट दैट दे आर गोइंग टू इम्प्लीमेंट फॉर digitization of the healthcare services, whether it is able to increase their services or make their services easier and more beneficial to the patients. So that behavior change we need to drive through, because currently we don't have any other incentive that we are going to provide them except for the DHIS, which is separate from it. So maybe the implementing partners can shed a cost that they are getting from state mission directors to the private people, that is their own transaction or business transaction that they have with their doctors. We don't have any involvement into that, but NHA is going to provide the DHIS as soon as the records are made.
I think the major cost, deterrent would not be the hardware. Lot of talks and even mom and pop clinic establishments have hardware. I think the problem would be the software.
Yeah.
The software, if it is given free of cost, along with the server. I think that would go in pain for the making them on board.
Maybe Tanu can help us in this. How was the experience? Whether people had resistance while onboarding because the cost of the hardware was mild.
Sir, in Mumbai, because we were targeting smaller clinics with single doctor or two doctors seated there. So we saw that they did not really have a computer or a desktop, a laptop in their clinics, and they were more comfortable using mobile applications in their smartphones. So hardware was not really a challenge, and the kind of HMI solutions that are available, the UI UX is also decent enough for them to use it easily. As far as payment for the solutions is concerned, because this is something new for them and we have to accelerate adoption of digital solution among them. The free solutions got adopted faster than the paid ones, because right now, as for them, they don't really need it. We have to first make it a habit for them, so that's why the free ones got adopted.
So that the business transition is about the ABDM solution provider and the independent doctor. I don't think NHA or SMB or
And just adding to what Dr. Tanu said, what we saw in Mumbai was either the hardware was the limiting factor, nor the software was the limiting factor. It's just the mindset that they want to use it. And as they grew comfortable using it, they felt it was a inevitable part of their digital journey. Patients started liking it. He started feeling much more comfortable having the records. So in fact, many of the low cost device operators, I mean, they kind of give it free for 1 year. They then use it for 1 year. Then we start charging monthly 50 rupees, 100 rupees. So they have a very good business model. What we saw in Mumbai. And as Dr. Tanu was mentioning, just a small mobile and a mini laptop, that was just enough to run the full clinic. So I do not foresee as NHA is structured, hardware or the software will be major problem. But one needs to see cities across India may not be same. We just need to see the local issues in that.
So we spoke to about 51 hospitals who were funding for PMJ in Ghaziabad. And what we saw was, I mean, these are again mid-segment hospitals, some of 60 beds or 300 beds for specialty. What we see is that most of them have their own hardware systems and they're spending quite a lot in maintenance of hardware. We also found that they do have an intent and a demand to upgrade. I think the biggest challenge was what I think the Microsite aims to help is that implementation and adoption support on ground. We do have a few hospitals with the PMJ network who think that provided the support and interaction with the existing HMIs for private sector, there is a willingness to adopt there. So I do agree that one, the hospitals are of course spending, and more is in terms of what happens to their old data, what happens to the legacy data, and the transition from their own systems. So these were some things which a lot of hospitals shared.
So I think we'll keep some queries when additional CSR also joins us. We can break for lunch and connectors is also. वो भी है. So the lunch is in the downstairs. Lounge for everyone. So lunch is being served in the lounge where we had our tea. Everybody can have their lunch and then we'll again get back around 2. The people who have joined us online, we are breaking for lunch and we are thinking of coming back at 2. So we hope that you all would have your lunch and then we'll get back to you at 2. Thank you.
Hello everyone, we are breaking for lunch now. We'll reconnect at 2 p.m. In the post-lunch session. Additional CEO sir would also be joining us. So see you all there at 2 p.m. when we join post-lunch. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are joined by our additional Chief Executive Officer and Mission Director of Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission, Dr. Basant Garg, sir. Sir, we welcome sir for your short comments about the microsite project. We have already done a small presentation, sir, and now we are doing. ऐसे चलते हैं.
So a very warm welcome to all our partners, to all the officers who have come from the states and to the implementing agencies and my colleagues from NHA. We are all here for a very important initiative with regard to the Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission. From our experience of running a microsite, in Mumbai by PATH, we have learned a few things, which is also telling us to replicate this microsite. And very recently, CHAI has also implemented 2 microsites in Gujarat, Ahmedabad and Surat. We just don't want our partners to contribute to the microsite movement. At NHA, we feel that financially NHA should also bear the burden. So keeping that in mind, and also to now take it beyond just 1 or 2 or 5 microsites, we embarked on this project of getting 100 microsites all across India. And it was a very brief discussion with one of our partners only that we thought that microsites will be a major game changer for getting ABDM adoption in the private sector. So with this background, we took this proposal before our MSG, and the MSG was kind enough to approve this proposal, and a budgetary outlay of 30 crore for 100 microsites. So 30 lakh per microsite has been approved. Our plan is that every state should have at least 1 or 2 microsites, but we do recognize that the smaller states, and the hilly states and northeastern states, they may have lesser microsites, whereas depending on population, the larger states, having a lot of urban centers, they could have a larger number of microsites. Second learning from PATH and CHAI projects was that there has to be greater ownership of the state MDs, state mission directors of ABDM. And at NHA, we don't have all the wherewithal to implement all these microsites from a central level. So keeping that in mind, we have issued some guidelines. Another important aspect was that these onboarding of implementing agencies should be quick, and we don't have to empanel and go through the process of RFP or RFE. So we also gave this flexibility to the SMDs that they may choose an existing implementing agency which is already working in their state for a tuberculosis program or some other program, because that implementing agency already has a lot of relationship with the private medical practitioners, and we can all leverage that existing relationship to roll out this microsite quickly. Also, the state MD would require a bit of a training, capacity building, hand holding of the implementing agency by somebody who can help at the state level. With that in view, we envisaged a role for a partner agency which would help in capacity building, as well as which would also help in developing dashboards and monitoring tools for the state. We also recognize that the partner agencies are such that they under the FEMA rules and various other rules, they are not in a position to accept any government funding. So why I'm saying all this is, please do correct me if there is some assumption which is incorrect. So we may need to check that. But so given this feedback, we also recognize that the role of the partner would be mainly in hand holding, monitoring, and capacity building. And the implementing agency would be the one who would actually put the foot soldiers on the ground. And of course, then there is the most critical role of the SMD, because it is the SMD who will identify those cities where these microsites can be established. SMD would be the one who would be recognizing the partners they can have one partner, they can choose to have two or more partners, given the size of the state. You can also do that. You can bunch a few microsites to one partner. So that all flexibility is with the SMD. And also onboarding of implementing agencies is left to SMDs. The present set of guidelines is not the exhaustive guidelines. This is just the first set of guidelines to empower SMDs so that at least maybe 20, 30, whatever number out of 100 can be achieved quickly. Right, for states which feel that they have to go through a process of empanelment of agencies, we are okay with that. We are not in any way closing that option. So they can very well go ahead and empanel agencies if they don't have a readily available implementing agency under the tuberculosis program. With this background, I would this meeting today, I think most of the SMDs who have been requested to come here is for getting the SMD to maybe have to know the overall universe of the partners, also to know the list of implementing agencies, and maybe kick off and kickstart the process. Right. So we are happy to share, the officers who have joined us, the states, they have already established and done a lot of good work in ABDM, in digital mission. So we are joined here by Manan from UP and Randeep from Karnataka, two of the leading states for scan and share, and for rather all things digital. They are doing very well. So we thought that we should request them to kickstart this microsite, and then of course Chandigarh we thought is a good place which can implement probably a universal kind of a microsite involving all private players there. So that is why how we requested Chandigarh, and then Bihar and MP are again two states which are headed by very dynamic officers. So we requested the officers to join us in this project. So with this background, I would request Akshay if he can, if he wants to do a presentation.
Yes.
So Akshay will go ahead with the presentation. Then of course we'll all engage. It is not going to be a one-way affair. Let us engage and try to see. I keep saying this, all the 100 microsites are not going to come up in a day. And for a state, if say a state like UP wants to come up with 8 or 10 microsites, all 10 will not come up at the same time. So let us start with 2 or 3 or 5, whatever is a comfortable number. And maybe a month down the line, you can, with the experience of the first month, you can then, of course, or the first 2 months, you can roll out other microsites. So we are not going to attack all 100 at once. Please, sir.
Sir, before we go on to the presentation, sir, on behalf of NHA, let us welcome all the SMDs who have joined us in person, sir. So I request you to please present a bouquet of flowers to Randeep. Sir,
No, it's very important.
sir, it's important. We need to welcome you all.
Yes. No, we have to come. Thank you. Is somebody taking a photograph?
Yes. Sir, Dr. Manan Akhtar from Sir, Dr. Suman Singh from SMT.
Thank you, sir.
Aditi's bouquet is due, huh?
Yes, sir. Aditi has joined us online, sir.
Yes.
Her bouquet is due, sir. So this small presentation, we have already gone through it. I'll just focus on 2 slides in this presentation, sir. Next, please, Hardik. So these are the stakeholders and their roles. You have already mentioned that what an HA or state SMD office is going to do, and what development partners and implementing agencies, their role in this microsite project is. We have already seen that the main focus or main pivotal role it is going to be played by the state mission director's office, whether in selection of a microsite or in selection of a developing partner or of the implementing agency. NHA is going to provide the overall guidance, capacity building, and other technical support if at all is required in the development or running of a microsite. Next, please.
Who's running it?
Hardik is running, sir. So these are the selection criteria for a microsite, whether internet connectivity is present or availability of the healthcare professionals are there or not, or digital literacy or support of local body or IML chapters or associations of the doctors. And then obviously accessibility can also be one of the criteria to suggest to select a microsite. Development partners and implementing agencies are going to be chosen by the state mission directors upon their discretion. In our operational guidelines, we have written that if any implementing agency is associated with the state to run any of the government program, the same implementing agency can be selected by the state mission director to run this microsite project in the states. Next, please. So now we come to the independent states and the discussion for these states. Can we come to the slide of Karnataka, please? Sir, these are the two interfacing agencies in Karnataka: Swami Vivekananda Youth Movement and Sampurna Swaraj Foundation. Their representatives are here in the call also, and
Joining online?
yes, sir, they have joined us online, and they have given us a list of the cities where they would be interested to work, and the same cities now can be discussed with the state mission director's office, and then
So we should request Randeep.
yes, sir, Randeep sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you to NHA for handholding us. Karnataka has done fairly well in onboarding the public health facilities, but where we feel we are lacking is the private health facility. So I think the microsite
Yes, sir, they'll be able to yes.
proposal is kind of a welcome move for us. Because it helps us tap the. This is my screen, is it?
No, not this. It's a mic.
Ajay, they're able to get, okay, fine. So, our concern was only this, sir, that how do we onboard the interfacing agency? We are aware of the work that Swami Vivekananda Youth Movement has done. Sampurna Swaraj Foundation, we need to hear them in terms of what their ground level strengths are, because this would require a lot of footwork in terms of reaching out to the last mile, the smaller clinics, labs, etc. So A is, I would like to know from these two organizations how geared up they are for taking up the microsite challenge as proposed by NHA. Second is what kind of guidelines can NHA give us? Because I do recollect, because since I also see PMJY, when this card distribution scheme came up, NHA had empaneled a list of agencies, so it became easier for us. We told the state government that we really don't have to go through a transparent procedure. There is an empaneled list ready, and the money is from NHA, so just a pass through for us. So we didn't really go through a procurement process. So here I'd like to know if we need to follow some procurement process. We have a very strong Transparency Act in the state. So in case we need to go through that, PATH is our development partner. So we would like to know if any draft template RFP is available, which we can utilize to quickly onboard them, maybe 15 days, 20 days process. That's primarily that, sir. Otherwise, the groundwork has started. These 4 cities we feel has good potential. Bagalkot, in fact, the mushrooming of private small clinics even surpasses the district hospital, taluk hospital. So we'd like to find out if there is potential there. Other 3 are the 3 biggest cities in Karnataka. So that's how we have chosen these 4 cities. So I'd like to hear from the partners and guidance from NHA as to how to move forward. We did go and visit Mumbai. So PATH's team led by Dr. Tanu kind of took us to the smaller clinics and showed how they worked hard in terms of onboarding them and also hand-holding subsequently in case of any technical glitches, issues which came up. So we are broadly aware of how it is to be rolled out, but the initial hand-holding, if it's there in terms of onboarding the interfacing agency, that would help us quickly show you some gains, sir.
Why, let me try to summarize. You mean to say that either there should be a model RFP which should be available, or maybe we can empanel agencies that are
Either way, we're willing to go either way. Yes.
But for these interfacing agencies, they are presently working in the TP or not?
Karnataka unfortunately does not have a PPSS, so we have to look at yeah. So we'll have to do that. One of the process.
Right.
Otherwise, I would have just jumped onto the bandwagon and picked one of them.
For that, then we start the process of parent for providing you with a model document.
Yes.
But then let us hear PATH You were saying that
Yes,
they are
Park
more-
had. They had presented, in fact, a detailed action plan as to how to take it ahead in Karnataka. So I think Dr. Tanu will.
So interfacing energy is one limiting factor for Karnataka. As of now.
In terms of how to onboard them, so we know that these two exist. I mean, I can sign into some kind of MOU. Since you're going to give us 30 lakhs, I need to be sure that I've onboarded them in the right way. Or NHA largely says that we approve this set. So I can, so I know it's not that easy for you also to quickly.
We'll do
Yes,
that.
yes, yes. At least for the states which don't have this PPSA, you will have to have some model to guide. Yeah, or at least tell us what to do so that I can go back to the state and say that this is how we are getting them on board.
Sir, we've already started working on it. So, we'll circulate to the states.
And to do that, only thing is we have to identify what is the thing which people are bidding for. It should not become a race to the bottom. That
Correct,
somebody
correct,
said, I'll do this for, let's say, complete this activity in 15 lakhs.
Yeah.
We don't want it to be.
So we can look at a QCBS kind of a system also. So
We develop that. But we can then,
Yes.
Manu, you have something to add? Onboarding. Doing onboarding of interfacing agency is one factor for Karnataka.
that's
The only factor.
limiting factor right now. We'll push that. Otherwise, largely the overall outline is ready. Now we move ahead.
Can we have this slide, please?
No.
Syllabus online one of the.
A very good afternoon, sir. And we had a very good session at the 12 to 1 slot. Sir. So what we have already interacted with the interfacing agencies also, and also with some of our partners who are already working in this. So when we interacted, we did not know that what is the OM is going to be, how it is going to be. It came after we interacted, right? So we already had a discussion, and I told them also that what APDM is and how it is going to work, because the PPSs, they work in a different universe. They work with the mixture and thing, and I think they have this. It's a very good thing that they already have a connect with the private providers. So that's a good thing which we are going to leverage. So at the same time, what we have thought right now is just in the brainstorming stage that Banaras will be taken up by HLF PPT. They are doing it. With DFI, we have thought of Agra, and we have Piramal as partners. They are developing our ICCC center, and they are partner of Bilal BHF also. So with them also we have an interaction, and we have thought that the Lucknow city and Balrampur district, it has got a very good collector in the semi-aspirational district that can be taken up as an example. And Ghaziabad, sir, access, we have an interaction with an access people, sir, and Ghaziabad they will take up. So this is the basic idea we have. We have also thought of maybe in future, because Park has got a very good presence in Gorakhpur, and it's a CM constituency, so we can maybe take it up how things goes. So that is the basic of what we have thought, and how we already have TSU support with us. So what we are going to think of is that using TSU support, and at the same time using these agencies as interface, and wherever there is a need of other people also, because it's going to be very concentrated, we can, I think, use locally as per the state's use, and whatever is easier for them also. So that part, sir, we have already had discussed. So what we would want is we have asked them also to provide some action plan, which can be solidified and then we put up to the national secretary, and so that it becomes a part of formal arrangements. And we have also asked for a model MOUs. Small MOU will it will do a good job, and I think it will be a very good. We can involve the DPCM and present it as a very good opportunity of presenting APDM also. So that is also a part which we are looking at. One thing which we have discussed before also, I think should not be a big deal, is free app for some people who are going to, especially the doctors. So UP, I think we are also. I think people will be a lot, especially mom and pop clinics. If they will have an issue, we want something. So I think hardware part should not be an issue, but software part, I think if NHA gives some kind of support. Because we are working with Tripcase already on cell, and they are providing a lot of support. So asking them for support always doesn't look good because they are also moving, they're also providing a cell in this scan and share in a big way. So that is something which I think NHA can look up. And so if path, which were the work path is done in mobile, if they can provide a good flow chart and how things should be initiated, just a model, so that we can discuss it with our partners. And what we are thinking is that once we'll discuss with our partner, and then when everything is decided, then district wise will involve the CMOs and the IMA and the hospital association also through PMJ. And then have an interactive part and then maybe push it. So that is what we have thought.
How many districts would you like to start? Maybe 3, 4,
6.
6. Right. So let's try to start 6 as soon as possible.
Yes, because I think our partners are quite good. Sir. They have a good work excel working.
So within this 6 districts, how are you mapping the interface agencies and how are you mapping the partners?
So right now, sir, we are choosing one agency for one district, but we'll interact with people and let's see how it works out. Because right now we are choosing this one person or one agency for one district.
So you have 6 agencies.
It's a Piramal is already working with UPTSO and BMGM.
So this is partner.
BMGM is our partner. Sir.
Right.
They have got a BMGM has got an MOU with the state government. It's on digitization also. So that's not an issue for us. And
Agency implementing it is not interface.
it's a HLM PPT and Dr. Stone.
So 2 agencies, 6 districts.
So I think that we can use Piramal as an implementing agency also.
Right? We are okay with that.
The district itself be a microsite.
No, sir. The urban area,
But the city.
not also full urban area to nature, but like in some of the hospitals are doing like in Lucknow, Balrampur hospital is doing quite good. Sir. So the area around that is also not, I would say slum, but it's a very concentrated, highly concentrated area, and I think mom and pop clinics, etc. will be there.
So there is no geographical, restriction on the size of the microsite. Right? You have the interface agency which will tell you that it will cover this much area for this many people. So, and
It's on them, sir. How much they will expend is on them. Money to is fixed only. They know how much money they will get.
I think from our side, we have tried to develop the guidelines in a way that payment is easy. The payment is not linked to any complex formula. It is pretty clear and it's set out in a way that it is achievable. From our experience so far, and child, the number of HPR and HFR they have been able to do till now. From that experience, we have tried to do.
So that right now we have this in mind, sir. I think I'm also planning a Zoom with all of them together.
So do you want to request somebody to from maybe HLFPCT or doctors for you or from PAR, any of the partners you want to speak?
I think I have spoken with everyone, but I think Mr. Reddy can also put a light on that he's from Access. So you can put a light on what you are planning and maybe Imani can also put a light.
Private hospitals. And a month back, we started with Ghaziabad, where we have interacted with 51 hospitals to see the demand and at what level, and also push HFR. So in Ghaziabad, about 50% of the private hospitals are now have logged on to HFR. So in terms of really supporting, I think we are already be a partner of PMJ to the SHA. And we would be happy to provide any technical assistance in terms of monitoring capacity building. In fact, we've had some conversations with Sir on pushing ABDM literacy at a hospital level. Also, the workforce of PNJ, which is the district implementation teams, the ISA teams, which would also be interacting with private hospitals. So our focus would be ABDM literacy and then implementation support to Manali sir and PNJ on how we can push more adoption in the PNJ hospitals. So we have done some preliminary work in Ghaziabad, and if that's the microsite that gets finalized, then we are happy to.
It's not only hospitals, because now we are looking at laboratories also.
Yes, absolutely.
We already have a system of. In the states, we already have developed UDSP, sir. Unified Disease Surveillance Program portal with the help of technical support unit, and that is onboarding all the labs. So it has also got maybe we can, it will be easier now for us because all the labs which were actually using COVID time they are shifted to UDSP. So that will be a thing. Two more things which I have requested with the partners that HLF PPT and doctors for you, sir, because they are in contact with a lot of around 4,000 doctors each. So I've asked them to at least HFR and HPR for these doctors, if that can be pushed.
That will be part of the microsite.
So even if it's not part of it,
The microsite, that they will be.
actually believes that because they work in 18 districts. So, outside that also they can, and any support in that will be.
Can you just read out the 6 districts if you want to know?
Answer Lucknow and Balrampur with Piramal, Varanasi with HLF PPT, Ghaziabad with Access, Agra with TFI, and in future maybe Gorakhpur with Path as a presence is good there because of the.
Path will only be your.
I think they have
Not an interface agency.
that they can, in, I think Gorakhpur, they have a lot of presence because of the. This.
They won't be able to receive funds. And that,
think it's
you will have to deploy an agency, so maybe you can clarify that.
So I think we'll look into that.
So, I mean, my request is if any, there are a lot of people present here. A lot of our development partners are here, interface agencies are here. If you want to come in with regard to UP, you heard the assembly speak about it. If you want to come in about this, please feel free to tell us, because then we'll move to the next stage, or you want to come in at the end, I'm okay with that also.
We've been working with so, in case there's anything that we can support, yeah.
So I think then we'll move to Chandigarh. Mike, either there. So you would request SMD Chandigarh. Chandigarh is a union territory and it's a beautiful city and all planned. So I hope you have already drawn out your plans. Yeah.
Absolutely. Sir, we already had one meeting with the team from Chip, and we have presented them with some data because we already have clinical establishments set in cities. So all our facilities are registered. Mine just 3 doctors. Everybody else is on board, on labs, on diagnostics, on unused facilities, on hospitals, on this.
They are registered on clinical establishment. Okay.
So we have the data of precisely how much groundwork we need to do.
Right.
And where we need to jump. And in our preliminary discussions, so it is just a proposal that we have had meetings previously also with all these facilities for onboarding of digital admission. And I'm very sure some most of the private facilities are already digitalizing their.
Yes, they may be storing data in the digital form.
But they are, only 40% of them are onboarding to our digital admission. And they have their own reservations, why they don't want to. I'm sure once this agency reaches out, they will have better results. But I have a very simple suggestion that if in the clinical establishment that we can get this.
Yes, in fact.
One of their parameters would be that their onboarding of the digital admission. I think we will in a day complete.
So let me, I think that's a very valid point, and let me inform that, we had this meeting with Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, wherein the Clinical Establishment Act of Government of India, which is I think applicable in 19 states and UTs, so that we have requested for the amendment, and that amendment in the rules. It doesn't even require an amendment in the act. It is just the rules therein. And a clarification has to be issued. So we have requested the ministry. I think very soon that will happen. So the point is well taken, but yes, let's come back to the microsite. So you have identified IIC as the agency. So Surbhi is here. Aap ma'am, please aap bataiye, then we'll go to Surbhi.
Thanks, sir. We've had a visit with them.
Right.
And we had a very detailed discussion. So I have asked them to once, they should go into the pool. And once they give their feedback, and then we plan to work on it together. And we do have partners which are working with other programs.
Okay.
And Nikshay works well, realization works well. So we can think of taking one of those agencies or any.
Yes, yes. You can even think of that.
Because I, to my mind, it is not too much of work on something.
Okay.
And we don't need major.
It will be wonderful to see Chandigarh, linking records, and in the private sector also.
I'm sure sir they are doing it all, because we do not have major hospitals. And we also do not have corporate hospitals.
So because many of my class fellows, they are practicing there, so it will be a good opportunity. They keep asking me, what do I do? So I'll be able to tell them.
You can help us more to give that push.
Right.
So, thank you so much.
So, it will be easier for me to answer, what do I do? Surbhi, you want to come in? You just tell the mic there.
So, like I mentioned, we had an initial meeting. The idea now is to give out a plan for Chandigarh. And since we talk about the whole of beauty, identifying how we will approach different facilities, so labs versus clinics. The other thing is onboarding the implementing agency.
Yes.
And the presence of them will be very few in Chandigarh. One help would be if you can define the criteria of what an implementing agency should be.
Right.
The number of people, resources, registration, that will help us identify if call for agency to opt in for ABDs. That can help us if we have a idea. Otherwise, states will have to find out that.
No, I think that's a valid point which Randeep also raised. So we'll have some criteria. We'll again engage with all of you to develop very, criteria which sets a low bar for entry, but high enough for, preventing any a substandard agency to enter. So that kind of criteria has to be developed, maybe depending on some turnover or years of experience, QCBS, the kind of resources which are required. So we'll develop such a criteria. Point well taken. What we have? Right. No, but you want any other agent? For Chandigarh, anybody wants to come in?
Any other development partner or the implementing agencies who are present in this call, if they are have anything to add to or any kind of feedback or suggestion related to Chandigarh, they may please come in and give us that whether they want to be engaged in Chandigarh or not.
Let's go to Bihar.
Yes, sir.
So in the first phase, we would like to penetrate three areas that are densely populated and in terms of medical establishments. First is Patna, second is Muzaffarpur, and third is Telangana. So these three areas have a very dense population for private practitioners, also hospitals, also and clinics, laboratories, everything. So I think we would be able to reach the at least category B of the microsite in these areas. So we would launch with these three.
Right.
And so Piramal is already a development partner. They have their resources in each district.
Right.
So we would like to go ahead with Piramal as our development partner. And in the meanwhile, sir, we will discuss if some other partner can also be roped in, which can provide their guidance and support to the SHA, to the mission, sir. And third thing is, as far as interfacing agencies concerned, if you provide us the right criteria which we should follow in terms of selecting, then we would see the already agencies which are working with the health department or in other government programs as compared.
No, but Bihar has TB.
Yes, sir.
So TB वाला agency आपके पास होगा?
So
In the 3 districts that you have mentioned, is there no agency of the tuberculosis program?
tuberculosis का तो I don't know, sir, but हमारे पास already digital health योजना का जो सर MSP है, they are engaged in the similar work.
So Alankrita, if you just take a look for Patna, for Muzaffarpur
And Darbhanga.
and Darbhanga, there are already, for all 3 districts, there are interfacing agencies available. This is as per TB program. So you can maybe go ahead, because this is the guideline which we have given to you.
Yes, sir, as we discussed before also, I think taking the ED program agency is only compulsory thing, or we can.
No, no, no.
take some other programs
Of
also.
course, see, as I at the very outset said, this is not a the last guideline. This was rather the first guideline which was sent to enable those SMDs who want to move ahead. Of course, if you feel that these are not the right agencies and you want to maybe onboard some other agencies, then like Karnataka, and Chandigarh, we'll have to look at ways of empaneling and bringing them on.
So we will have a discussion with all of these agencies, and whichever we found most suitable to work in that environment, and for this project, we will try to identify
Yes.
based on the criteria that you give us.
See, again, I'm telling you, this first set of guidelines was enabling guidelines. It was for you to quickly onboard the agency. For example, for Patna, if World Health Partners, I'm sure, are they here? You can have a discussion, go back and have a discussion with them. If you feel that, they are capable of putting the people on the ground, they have that relationship with, a particular number of private doctors and laboratories, then you may find them good enough. And that is when our guideline will help you. But if you feel that no, this probably is not working, then of course you'll have to fall back on the option of empanelment and knowing about the basic, what are the basic qualifications or the eligibility for a agency. So you can take that call.
Just have to see the performance and efficiency of these agencies. Right?
Yes,
They
yes.
are, how they are suitable, and then we will.
You can also maybe hold a meeting with your counterpart in the NHM or in the TB program to ask them about this performance of these agencies and document it also, which will help strengthen you to document. Okay, this agency, you can have a meeting and have some criteria उनसे पूछ के you can document कि हाँ ये agency अच्छा काम कर रही है TB में, इसके साथ agency ये claim कर रही है कि मेरे पास इतने already existing relationship है, and if it is verified from the TB program, then you can go ahead. So that is if you feel comfortable. If you are not comfortable, then of course the second option would be empanelment.
So representatives from World and Partners and doctors for you are also here in this.
So
meeting.
can we listen to somebody from World Health Partners? Okay, please.
Yeah. Hi, am I audible?
So my request is we'll come back to you, Chandrasekhar ji. Yeah, please.
Okay, sure.
One, can an agency be both the development partner and the interface partner?
Absolutely, absolutely. We don't have any problem with that. I think it's for the SMD to.
Then payment.
So payment is to be made to the interfacing partner. For the development partner, there is no payment from our side.
Yeah.
So if they are able to manage, and if you have the confidence that they will continue to provide you good monitoring tools, the point is the development agency is for capacity, the development partner is for capacity building, monitoring. And if the SMD feels that, okay, there is no conflict of interest and we are happy with the, monitoring tool which is being provided to the SMD, I think you can go ahead. We have no problem to that, because the development partner does not get any funds for this. It is assumed that it is more of a, a pro bono kind of a thing.
Yeah. Second question was that there are other programs also which we are, let's say, working with various state governments. For example, 104 helpline, in some cases, mobile medical units, medicine. So I guess that relationship with the local NHA body or SHA is already there in some states. We can use that relationship as well as we get SMD.
Yeah, I think then you please let us know what are those relationships. We can again issue a set of guidelines for the SMDs to be. I think, but more important is we should start working on the empanelment process and the eligibility, because the first set of guidelines was, to fill this time out till the time we are able to empanel somebody or issue out a minimum eligibility thing. But I think what is emerging from today's meeting is that maybe the officials do want empanelment to happen. So we'll also start that.
Just different types of questions that we are having.
Yes, yes.
One more, for example, is how where we do work with the state governments, mobile medical study medicine centers. There are other PPP programs which are running.
Right.
Thank you.
Chandrasekhar ji, you were saying something. So can we?
Yeah. I hope I'm audible now, right?
Yes, yes, you're on.
Yes. So based on the previous discussion as well, like, we opted for 4 sites, but I think at the first phase, NHA want to go with only 1 site. So if we are absolutely okay to go to more sites because we already have presence there. And in Patna, like we are working from last 11 years now, especially with the private sector. So we don't have any issue in these districts because we already have existing in these districts, including Punjab, some of the sites which I have mentioned. So there also.
So is there somebody from doctors for you?
Anybody from doctors for you?
Yeah, hi, good afternoon. This is Dr. Vaishali.
Online?
Hello. Yes, I'm online. Yeah. I have a colleague, Tipti, who's attending there, but with respect to the PPS agency, I'll be the better person to answer.
Do you have anything to add for the districts that we are showing here in Bihar?
Yes, so in Muzaffarpur and in Darbhanga, both the places we do have our team on ground, and yes, we have been working there for almost like since 2020. So we do have good relations and on ground, and also like Bihar, we've been. Hello.
District hospital in so we have a very strong connection to Muzaffarpur. So I think we can start from Muzaffarpur and maybe share from Bihar.
So what we'll do is we'll not have this discussion here. Maybe when the SMD goes back to the state, you can organize one visit there. You can present what is your strength in which part of the state your presence and your relationships with the private sector. So you can explore that, right? But the decision is still with the SMD. It's your comfort how you want to go ahead. Right.
So can we move on to
Yeah.
here?
Yes.
So can we move on to Madhya Pradesh? Ms. Aditi Garg, do you have you online?
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Yeah, I'm connected online, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Right. So we had a different bit of a take on the way we are approaching microsites. Actually, we wanted to build on the strength of PMJY and approach the private empaneled hospitals and their networks that are already existing instead of launching into a full-on survey that would perhaps be slightly more time consuming for us of the existing small clinics and their networks. So as of now, we have identified our bigger metropolis cities to be areas from where we would be launching the microsites. And we have already had a preliminary discussion with PATH as well as the Clinton Health Initiative. And in fact, we are due to visit the Mumbai microsite any day now. So that is somewhat in the pipeline. In terms of rolling out, we had a discussion with Akshay sir yesterday. In fact, we do need to get in touch with Deepak Foundation. But what we have realized is that we would need more presence at the institution itself, at the EHCP doorstep itself, because we've realized that with the ABDM hand-holding, it's kind of a prolonged process. So our partner need not just have a presence in the district, but they need to have the resources over a longer period of time and more in number, so that the deployment can be for a longer period of time, so that the hand-holding and integration is complete. Our challenge so far has been integration of existing multiple platforms and different sources into ABDM. So when we are handholding these microsites, we would prefer organizations that not only are doing different work, say for example with TB in a district, but we would want them to be dedicatedly working for ABDM in a particular district. I can see that the districts mentioned here are somewhat different, but of course inclusive of the ones that we have chosen for microsites. But as of now, we have not had a discussion with the interfacing agency. We have had a discussion only with the handholding development partners. And we are trying to develop a system which is perhaps not granular, in the sense that we are not approaching individual clinics. We are trying to build on the existing networks of the EHCPs of PMJAY. And we would hope that since they can provide the supply push, the demand would obviously go up. So that's the model that Madhya Pradesh is trying to develop. We are targeting the bigger cities in Nor Bhopal to begin with. And we are trying to target the bigger hospitals and their hospital networks, in the sense that even location wise, we are, for example, in Indore, we are going for a location that has the biggest private hospital, the biggest government hospital, and their connected network, so that we create a zone that we can then call a microsite. So we are going city wise, and our technique is somewhat different, but that's how we are trying to envision it. As of now, the development partners who we have spoken with do not have a presence in Madhya Pradesh, but they've assured me that as and when we start needing their services, they would be able to deploy some people. I would like Deepak Foundation to also get in touch with us and share their human resource availability. Also, what we are, one of the challenges that we have had is in terms of the software integration. So we would request NHA to have some kind of a point of contact for the technological integration, because the SMD, or basically the state office, would perhaps not be able to manage that integration entirely. So if we have a point of contact from NHA, then it would be easy for us to integrate it wholly.
I think what we'll do is, I think few points are emerging. One is that, of course, out of 5, 3 SMDs have expressed that maybe some criteria or empanelment should happen. So what we'll do is, we'll use this meeting to, at the later part of the meeting, to listen to you what should be the criteria. I think many of the implementing interfacing agencies are here. So we'll make use of that, how and what were the criteria when you were empaneled as a PPSA, or you were assigned the work of a PPSA under tuberculosis program. Second point is, I think the interfacing agency, which we have pointed out in our presentation, has not had the opportunity of meeting the SMD. They have not, taken the pain to go and meet the SMD in the state. I think that is an activity which should happen immediately, as soon as possible. So my request is to Deepak Foundation, Doctors for You, World Health Program, so all the agencies which we have seen, it would be better if you can go and meet the SMDs, so that they have more confidence in the ability and the eligibility of the implementing interfacing agency. I think that is an important part which is missing today. And third aspect, which I did not mention at the initial part intentionally, is that a very important partner or the stakeholder in the system is the people who have developed these softwares. There are private players who have already developed these softwares and who have integrated with ABDM. Their names are hosted on our ABDM website. Manan mentioned about Briefcase. There are others, Bajaj Finserv, a lot of them. So it is not just the job of the SMD or the development partner or the interfacing agency. It is the biggest opportunity is for these companies to go out and get hold of as much of business as possible. So they are the ones who will actually do the marketing and the sales job, right? So it's not that all softwares are integrated at our end and we will do that. It is that these already integrated softwares will be rolled out, and they already have various models, per month payment model, or a free for 3 years model, or whatever models they already have. I think they are the biggest stakeholders, and in a way they'll be after this business. So that is, I did not mention it at the start because I thought that otherwise everything will left to this last part only. So as Manan said, these people, they keep helping us a lot in rolling out ABDM, but it is for their interest that they are doing it. So we should keep that in mind and should not be very merciful on them. Right. So any other point, actually?
No, sir.
I think we had this interaction with
more points if they have.
Yes, we had this interaction wherein we have listened to the views of the SMDs. I think we know what are the challenges each SMD is facing. And we also requested our partners and our interface agencies who have joined us to tell us. I think it's a learning phase for NHA also. I think one learning is we'll go ahead with the empanelment. I would request, maybe a good interface agency who's present here, online or physically, if they can help us, what was the criteria which was adopted. We don't want to have a very, very prohibitive kind of a criteria which leaves out many of these interface agencies. So maybe we'll have a discussion around that. And before that, I will request, so many people are here. If anybody has any points which maybe I have missed and, which will help us, please do go ahead and contribute to this discussion. Okay. So one more request, I think, Manan, since you are the one who is, you who said that we can roll out 6, maybe if you can just send us proposal for one microsite to begin with, identify the interfacing agency and the partner. That will maybe send a good message to all the SMDs and, give them more confidence. So I would not even ask you for 6. I'm asking you for 1. So if you can do that, I think we will examine that and we'll approve that. And once that happens, I think we can tell others that if Manan can do it, why can't you? So we will take it that way. Please, Sohail.
I just have a question on behalf of the states. Previously, all ABDM related funding that is available to states, they have to apply for it. Then request it to disperse it. The same process followed here again, because there's some pretty conditionalities that need to be taken care of the state level, whether it's bank account or everything else. Asking very specifically because in UP's projects we still have to get the ABD related funding. It should not be an issue now. Our society is going to be approved. Yes, the finance gone up to that's good, but just as a clarification, how will the payment also fund transfer to state happen?
Bank account.
I think that's a very point you have said. UP doesn't have a bank account with that name, but Manan is saying it is going to happen soon. So as far as we are concerned, as soon as an SMD sends us a proposal for a microsite, so proposals will be sent for each microsite. So if, for example, Karnataka decides to start maybe 5 microsites, so they'll have to send us 5 proposals, telling us the name of the microsite, the area, kind of a description of the microsite, the partner and the interface agency, what is the estimated number of laboratories or small hospitals which are there, what is the characteristics of the microsite, and then of course they just have to send us and we'll examine it, approve it, and give them the first installment. So after that they can go ahead and roll it out. So the first installment is no questions asked. I think we have clearly mentioned it in our guidelines also. So, but you are right in UP's case, but I think SMD has clarified here that they are going to come up with their account. So maybe for UP account is the only limiting factor. Yeah.
So that's the point. These are the point. I don't say that you're expecting the development partners to support on a pro bono basis. It would be nice to probably do that. But I know there's a limiting factor to it. even if they wish to, there's a resource limitation that all of them will have. While organizations like ours may come in and pitch in to support some of the efforts, we also know that there's a limiting factor to even what case coalition can do. We'll be able to support huge states for sure. Because there has a long-term commitment from our side, so that goes without saying. My one more request is if we can start in parallel identifying similar organizations who are ready to fund the development part.
Yes, yes.
Because fact of the matter is that organizations like Path, Chai and others cannot get money from you because the structure, they can only receive money from organizations like ours, GSA, USAID. If collectively 5-6 agencies or donors can come together to support that effort, I think it will help a lot. Because each organization will have their own limitation, but collectively, I think it will.
But then I think we leave it to the, we'll start that engagement, but we leave it to the development partner and a prospective donor to work out the economics, the finances of that engagement. Right. The point well taken. Anybody else who wants to come in?
Just to add to that point, engagement with some of the donor partners like USAID, DISL, etc., will help in setting up that conversation and
So
expectation.
you would want that to happen under our banner? I mean, you want us to sit through that? How do you want to go about this?
Engagement on, let's say, ADB and PDC, that will help at least them to have a buy-in on this concept.
Right.
Then, of course, we can take it up.
Right. So I think we are okay with this. I'll just towards the end of this, interaction, I would like to request, is there anybody who can tell us what does the interfacing agency, how does it qualify, what are the characteristics which are looked into at the time of empaneling for under the TB program? What was the turnover? What was the, how many years experience, or anything? And if somebody has some insights into it.
So
Otherwise, we'll of
various
course,
implementing partners.
yes,
Sir.
so we can request somebody.
If any implementing partner has any.
Okay. So Dr. Vishali, if probably you can tell us, I mean, are you aware of what could be the criteria? Of course, then we'll go back to our ministry and we'll try to work it out.
Yeah. So when we had started the PPSA like program, so this is back in 2019. So there were few eligibility criteria like, it had to be the financial documents of last 3 years had to be given. Then certain, if it is an NGO or a society or trust, so those documentations were there. So those are the simple documentation which is used for compliance. Apart from this, the very first time they had assessed our reach and our experience with respect to working in TB. Then after the first time we won the, the tender in Mumbai. After that, every time whenever we applied for the other states, it was like, okay, you all already have 3 years experience. So that kind of kept adding our scores for the technical bidding. So this is the way that the PPSA